Good afternoon, everybody. How are we all doing today? It's saying I'm live. I'm just checking that I am live in the right place. Yeah, there we go. Sorted. How are we? I hope you're all well. I do have the fan going because it is quite warm in here. It's muggy today because everywhere's wet. So I haven't opened my doors because I don't want the dog running in and the cats running in and out to the lounge with it being wet. So yeah, fans going. Hopefully it's okay. I have asked Hayden to just go on and check that it's not too loud or distracting. Hopefully he'll let me know if it is. But yeah, I hope you're enjoying this cooler weather that we're having at the moment. I know I am. Let me just get rid of that. Don't need that. But yeah, how have we all been? Do pop on and say hello if you're watching live. If you're watching on the replay, #replay. If you're watching on YouTube, say hello. I do like to read everybody's comments. Just excuse me. Still drinking loads, even though it's cooled down a little bit. So, what have I got to tell you? I'm extremely tired. Some of you may have guessed. So, it's the virtual album retreat. Yesterday, today, and tomorrow. Stampin Up put this album. Oh, you can't hear it. Thank you. I just check the fan's fine. And because it's in the States, it's running from 9 p.m. till 4 or 5 a.m. Last night was the first night. I wanted to make sure I was there for the beginning of it to find out everything that's and I ended up staying to do 3 pages, 3 double page spreads. So it was like 2 o'clock before I went to bed. And yeah, I forgot, didn't I, that I've got to do my lives today. I hadn't planned it all very well. But yeah, I've got one to catch up on. But it was great fun. Really enjoyed it. Project's lovely. We've done the most complicated one apparently, and that went okay. It was the first one, and you know when you're trying to get into things, and yeah, a couple of little mistakes, but no one will ever know. Who knows it's a mistake, eh? They don't know what it's meant to look like, do they? They might think that that's exactly how it's meant to be. So yeah. What else have I got to say? I think that's everything newsy wise. And I think we can just get on and craft. So we are using the Boho Vibes. I'll just grab my catalogue. And we can change our camera. So we'll go down here. And this is one of those sweets that as soon as I saw it, I thought, I want that. Because it's that little bit different. Hi, Michelle. I'm well, thank you. How are you? Have you got a bit cooler weather? And we're wet. It stopped raining at the moment, but everywhere's wet. It's been raining most of the morning. So yeah, this Boho Vibes, fun. As it says, it's got a proper 60s, 70s feel to it, depending how you use it. But I just loved it. And I love a rainbow, and to be able to have a rainbow is fab. I mean, this card here, it's just gorgeous. I love that. So let's have a look at the suite. I'll pop that out the way. So we've got stamps and dies. And the dies, you have one large that cuts out a rainbow, from the outside, and then strips for inner. And they're not perfect, they're wibbly wobbly, and I like that. And then you've got some bits here that are all different arches. They create the arch. Just fun designs on them. And then a couple of hearts and starbursts for added detail. You're good. No rain here today, but not as hot and sunny as it has been. Yeah, very similar to you, except for, yeah, we've had lots of rain. And then the stamp set is a very simple set. It's got lovely simple greetings, hello, thanks, sending good vibes and darling, so you can match those up. And then just some little images to use to create, just to help it along, really. And then we've got the gorgeous muted palette dots. I love those. They're gorgeous, those are. And then the papers. This is where it's stunning. I mean, so one side we've got big bold patterns, and then, like with most of our papers, on the other side it's a bit more of a backgroundy. But just some, that one I love. Starburst. You get 6 of each, so there's plenty to be going at. But I just love the muted colours of it. And that is fab. It's very similar to another one that we had, but in a different colourway. That is, I mean, how much does that look like? The sun, the mountains and the sea. To me, that's what I saw. Arches. And that one's really fun with muted back, and the last one's stripes with a, I like the fact that nothing's perfect. There's no straight edges as such. It's all just a bit freehand. Right, so let's get creative, shall we? I have no idea what I'm thinking of doing, but I'm going to start with, I think we're going to go coloured. I was going to have a white card front, but I think we're going to go with some colour. And I'm going to go with petal pink, because we've got petal pink in here. And I might end up doing a petal pink card. Oh, there's card base pre-done. I don't think I've got any pieces of petal pink in my scrap that are a card front. I'll just have a double check. And no, not quite big enough. So I've got our standard card base. If I do use a petal pink card base, if I don't, that's okay. I can change my mind. And that's our card base. And then we'll cut a layer, which I just go 1/2 centimetre down in size. So it's 10 centimetres by 14.4. Now, petal pink is a colour that when I first came across it, I was like, I don't like that. That's an odd pink. And it is. It's a peachy pink. But I've grown to really like it. Right, so we've got our card base, and then I'm going to use some paper. Maybe, I think. I'm just looking at what pieces I've got that I've already used. No, don't want none of those. So I'll keep those in there. So I always keep all my offcuts because you never know. Oh, actually, I think I'm going to use, there's that one. That one. And we could use a bit of that. And that'll go nice with the petal pink. Yeah, we'll go with that. And then I want to stamp over this with some tone on tone. As you can see, I've been using it. I've got all my extra little bits in here. because I cut bits and don't use them. I'll keep them all ready. Right, so if we're going to have a piece of this, I think I'm going to do it that way. Not do I carry on with the lines? No, I think that's enough line in it. So we'll go with these little dots that aren't round. Well, they're not quite round. And then we'll grab our petal pink. Hi Carol, how are you? Hope you're well. And I am going to bring in a piece of grid paper, and it is a used piece, so I'll just fold it in half because I want to stamp off the edge. I'm just going to do some random stamping, and I'm turning the stamp as I'm doing it. You're good. Oh, brilliant. There we go. Just little bits on the edge, just so that it shows that, you know, it's a continuous. There we go. I'm happy with that. I'll pop that out of the way. Alright, so now I'm going to cut some of this that will go over, and I'm going to cut, I think, a 4cm strip. That'll possibly be about right. Just hold that up. Yeah, that's plenty. And then I want to cut it to size to fit, but I don't want to cut just from the one end because I want it to be with the yellow at top and bottom. So I'm going to cut the top just into that yellow there. I mean, you could just chop it off at one end, but because I want it some of the yellow on top and bottom, I'll do it this way. And then I can cut it at 14.4 to match. I'm not usually that precise about things, but I just feel that I wanted it for this. Okay, so we can stick that down. That's gorgeous, isn't it, that? Secret C. Love Secret C. I actually haven't got any Secret C at the moment. My order is due to come tomorrow. And I've run out of Secret C, so I can't do anything. I think I've got a couple of little scraps, and that is it. There we go. That's that. And then I think we need to make, I think I'm going to go with, but keep this quite simple and have a circle on there. And I wonder if I can cut that. Let's see. We'll see. It might not work. I might not be able to make it work, but we will see. All right. So I want a yellow circle. I'm going to stamp on white. So where are my bits of white card? They're over here. So right, doing that scrapbook retreat, I moved everything off my table that I'd been using. I'll use this piece here. And I am going to bring in my mat for this to stamp on. I've got the semicircle, And I'm going to use, we'll use Daffodil Delight. Now, excuse my Daffodil Delight impact. I have to keep it upside down because it's come off. And I need to glue it back on. But I just haven't got round to gluing it back down. Which I will do at some point. Get my old tea towel, wipe that off. Always keep a couple of old tea towels in my craft area because you never know. I also use them to cover my cardstock because I'm next to the window. I'm going to come in so that I can punch this out. Because I'm next to the windows, the sun can take the colour of the cardstock on the ends. So I just cover, I've got them all in my files and then I cover them with a tea towel. And I also cover my cut and emboss machines because they're white and I don't want them to go yellowy. Now, do excuse me if I get my head in shot or I go out of shot because I do need to get right over this to be able to see to create the circle. There we go. That's not bad if I do say so myself. We do get a line, but I'm okay with that. I don't mind there being a line on there. Oh, and then I want to stamp that, don't I? Shouldn't have closed that. Okay. I'm just going to stamp that and then we can fussy cut that. There we go. So what's everybody been up to? Anything exciting? Right, that's too big. That's the 1 3/4 punch, and I only have that one that's currant, but I do have in my stash a 1 1/2 inch punch, which is still a bit big, and the 3/4 one's going to be too small. So I'm going to see if I've got a die that'll cut that instead. That one's too small, I think. Yeah, that one's too. It'd be, oh, actually, because it's. I need to make sure it's got some white around it. Because I'm fussy cutting the other piece up. Carl says you've been for coffee with your friend and had cuddles from a baby grands. Oh, how wonderful. No, that's too big. Oh, I do miss having babies in the family. We haven't got any at the moment. Not that I particularly want anyone to go and have one. I think that is actually the same size, yeah. Right, I'm going to go for it and cut out that one in the hope that I can get it centred. If it goes wrong, we'll stamp another one. It's only a piece of card. Okay, with my plates. So I'll pop that on there. It's just that I want some white round it because of having to fussy cut that. It'll look better if there's white round it, I think. It's got no white round it, but that's okay. We'll go with it, you know. And we'll see. I can always change it after. It might be fine. it might be fine. I'll cut this and then add it to it and we'll see. Alright, I'm just going to fussy cut round here. And this is one of those things you either love or you hate. For me, it depends what I'm cutting, what image. I find some images, it just works, but then others, it's like, really, what's going on here? I struggle with a lot of sentiments. I love sentiments that are fussy cut round, but when there's more than one font, I tend to struggle. It doesn't look right to my eye for some reason. Alright, I am just going to go a bit further down in a couple of these. They don't all have to be the same, but I just feel that a couple of them just need that little bit extra. I think it looks better. I'll possibly go a little bit quiet while I do this. I do apologise. There we go. That's better. See, just taking those little bits off sometimes is all it needs. Right, then if I stick that there, actually that doesn't look too bad with it not having you know. I'm not convinced as much as I was. I'm not now. So I'm going to do another one. And this is what it's about, isn't it? You know, you try things, you do it, you have an idea, and it's figuring it out. And there's no right or wrong. You know, it's whatever you feel, whatever looks right to you. There's no hard, fast rules at all. Right. So we'll do that with an edge now. And see how I feel about that instead. Yeah, I prefer that. I prefer it having the white. Just shows up. I like the fact that that's got the detail on it of the stitching, but it doesn't show up so well. So we're going to go with that. I'm going to glue that to the back. So that was the 1.5 inch punch, which, like I say, is now retired. So that's out of my stash. But you could use any die that you've got. There we go. And then I want a bit of a rainbow. I've got all these pieces. That I can just piece together. I don't want yellow. Do with a piece of Cajun clay. So I'm going to cut, unless I put yellow within. So I only really want 3. And then I can do my sentiment in the Cajun craze maybe. It's too big. actually. That's not too bad. Quite like that. And then do my sentiment in Cajun Craze. Right. Keep that there. Let's glue these on. No. I was going to pop that on dimensionals, but if I dimensional that... Oh, I can. No, I'll do it flat. I'm very indecisive. I'm very tired, which I think that isn't helping. It was a fabulous evening yesterday. I didn't wake up. It was 10:30 today. So I haven't done a lot this morning, and I don't think my brain's quite in gear yet. But that's okay. Oops. Grab that one. Oops. I don't think my fingers are quite in gear yet either. And just straighten that up a little bit, and then I want to put a heart in there, and I want a Cajun Craze heart. Now I know I've got that one there, but I want a bigger one, so I'm going to die cut a Cajun Craze heart. And this one die, and it cuts 3 lovely cute little hearts. I'm just going to grab, do I use, you know, I think I'm going to use some of the paper to die cut out if I've got a piece that's got Cajun Craze on it. There you go. I've used that piece for exactly the same thing. It's not quite as harsh as the cardstock. Well, die cut one of those out. So I've got a full-on day of crafting again today. Because I'm doing this, and I'm going to have me some lunch. And peg my washing out if it doesn't rain. And then I want to do, I only managed to do 3 of the projects last night because I had to give up at 2 o'clock. Couldn't stay awake any longer. Pop that die back. So I'm going to catch up on the one that I didn't do. And then it'll be my live again this evening. There we go. I'm going to pop that in there. That just pops. I'm glad I didn't use Cajun Craze on the rainbow, because it has meant I can put a Cajun Craze in there. Yeah, so I've got my live this evening, and then it's back to crafting again. Right, sentiment for this. I quite like the hello, because the sun's peeking out, and I might just pop it on there. So I'm going to, I think I'm going to do it. Let's stamp it on white in Cajun Craze, but I might actually end up heat embossing it. Cajun craze. There we go. And I might heat emboss it white on Cajun glaze and see which looks the best. I've got that. Let's just snip that. Now, I'm not the best at cutting straight, so I tend to bring in my little guillotine and then I can line it up with the edge of there and just be able to get it very close. That did move a little. That's okay, that's not too bad. That's acceptable. Actually, I quite like the white. Snip that at the angle too. That needs to be a little bit closer. That's better. We'll pop that on mini dimensionals. Now, I had no idea where this was going to go. I had no thought process in my head of a starting point either. I looked and I thought, oh, I want a sun with some rays. That's what I thought. All right, and then we can pop that there and get it straight, Lise. Okay, and then if we pop that on, do it on, I think I will do it on Petal Pink. I use loads of white card bases, and I never used to. I always used to use coloured card bases. So I do need to make sure I'm using coloured again more often. I mean, sometimes things just need a white card base, don't they? There we go. Got lots of little bits here and there. Get rid of the rubbish. So we can do an inner for our card. And I think in that corner we need to stamp a sun. Pop that away. I'll bring back a piece of grid paper and I want to stamp it off the page. I'm determined I'm going to glue this back in today. So I'm just going to do it off the corner. And then do I want to put, yeah, I will. I will put the rays on like that. There we go. That's absolutely fine for our inside. Ties it in nicely. And then we'll get some embellishments wherever I've put those. Down here. We can do a mixture actually. Let's have a couple of blue and a pink. Not there. There we go. And there is our first card. Very simple. A lot of it's using what we've got left. Yeah, I'm quite happy with that. I perhaps would this made it come further round, perhaps done 2. But I'm happy with how it's turned out. That's fine. So yeah, there's our first one. And then for our second one, I want to create. What do I want to create? Something a little bit different, I'm thinking. No, I'll probably end up exactly the same. There's a lot. Simple but lovely. Thank you, Michelle. Right, we're going to go white on this one. And I'm going to grab the leaf. And then I'm going to use the starburst, the little starburst. Right, is that not big enough? Nope. Is that not big enough? Yes. I find square blocks easier. That's why I don't necessarily just go straight for the oblong. Right, so I'm going to emboss this. So again, I want to bring in my stamping mat. I'm going to grab my embossing buddy and just get rid of any static oils off my fingers so that the embossing powder doesn't stick anywhere I don't want it to. Alright, so I'll ink this up with Versamark. Versamark's just a sticky ink. I think I'm going to do it random-ish. Now, yeah, my Versamark has got a bit of colour to it because I've used it. Got some ink in it. Some of these are overlapping, and that's fine. I'm not precious about keeping things immaculate. You know, things are there to be used. And they will get dirty. You know, I don't mind that some of my stamps have got staining off the reds. That's fine too. Right, so I've done, I don't know if you can see it. Hi Angela, you're not on replay. So you can see that I've just randomly stamped those. And then, oh, granddaughter time. Lovely. Just on about the fact that I've got no littlies in the family, like babies. We've got my great niece who's just finished this nursery, I think. Yeah, so I've just done a few of those over as well, and then I'm going to add embossing powder. But what embossing powder shall we use? We could use white or silver or gold or black. I'm thinking white. Yeah, no. Yeah, let's go white. No, I'm gonna go gold. I'm indecisive again. We'll go gold. Gold, we're gonna make a very opulent card out of a very non-opulent stamp set. Sometimes you just need to do something that's like a bit of a what? You're doing what with what? That doesn't, but you don't have to stick with what the suite, like the colours in the suite are beautiful and I love it and they go really well with the designs, but you don't have to stick to those colours. You can use the products with any colour you wish, and that's what I'm going to do on this one. I'm going to go totally different with the colours. Right, so let me put my heat tool on. I'll have to unplug my phone to do this because I am using every socket on my craft desk. I'm sorry if I knock you. You wouldn't think you need so many sockets on a craft desk, but believe me. I don't know if you can see that going. I'm just going to taste it. There we go. Now, as you saw when I was heating, there's no wafting. Just chase it round as it melts. Now, I do know people who do it from the back. They prefer that method, and that's absolutely fine. There's no right or wrong. The reason I say just not to waft it is because it's cooling down every time you move away from it. And just direct it on one patch, it's quicker. Right, so we've got that. Oh, I'm going to bring in my glass mat because we're going to do some blending. Right, let's move those out of the way so I can get my mat on. There we go. Now you are going to get a glare from my ring light, unfortunately. Right, what colours shall we go? We could do greens, pinks, purples, blues, a mix, oranges, yellows. I'm wondering if we should go. Has anyone got any preference on what colour? If you haven't, then I think I'm going to go pinks. And I'm wondering, oh, we could go very opulent with, not a colour I use very often, though I do love it, Blackberry Bliss, Crushed Curry, another colour. You know what I've got? It's behind here. A fabulous colour coach. And this gives you all the colours and colours that they go really well with. And I love this because it just gives you the 3. So Pretty Peacock and Pretty Pink with Blackberry Bliss. Or Berry Burst and Old Olive. Not for blending, I don't think. We could do... Do you know the other thing we can do is get our colour wheel. So if we go for Triadic, so we've got our Blackberry Bliss, there, our crushed curry isn't quite in with it, to be honest, and then it's saying a green. So we could go Pretty Peacock. Yeah, let's do those. See, we've got lots of tools available to help us. And sometimes when we're using colours that we don't use very often, we're like, you know, what goes best? So we've got crushed curry, Blackberry Bliss, and the Pretty Peacock we can use the blue one for. Unfortunately, I don't have a brush, blending brush for every colour. I wish I had. Now, this is quite autumnal, I think. So we'll pick up our crushed curry and start at the top with this. And I'm just going to blend it on in circular motions. And it will look like it's covering the gold, but that's okay because it'll wipe off after. And the beauty about a glass mat is it doesn't waste any ink, because it'll just pick it up off there and move it onto your paper or card. And the reason we start off the paper is because if we went straight onto the paper, we will get this, to end up with a dark splodge in the middle. And you can sometimes get rid of it by keep working and working at it, but it's just easier and better practice if you start off the page. Again, there is no hard and fast rules, but that works a bit better. And I always dab some of the ink off first. Oh, and my keyboard just fell on the floor. Okay, so that will do for the crushed curry. Then I'm going to go Pretty Peacock, I think. Yeah, why not? Why not? Let's do Pretty Peacock. I'll come in from the sides for this. And I mean, all of these 3 are very strong colours, so they don't take much to get a nice coverage on your card. And if we blend it in, we will get a bit of a green, and that's fine. I'm trying not to go too far down because I want to make sure I've got plenty of room for that Blackberry Bliss. But I do want to make sure I haven't got a dead straight line across, because we don't want that. I just want to make sure there's plenty of that pretty peacock on there to give us a nice deep colour. There we go. Right, so I've got that to the colour that I want. So now I'm going to start blending it out a bit more. There we go. And I'm going to come back in actually with my crushed curry. Because I don't want to add any more pretty peacock. And that's just blended that little bit better. Right, so I am going to, I haven't wet my cleaning cloth, so I'm just going to use my tea towel to get the excess off. There we go. I better plug my phone back in actually, otherwise we'll end up with my phone cutting off. Right, so now we're going to do our Blackberry Bliss. Now my Blackberry Bliss is a very old one, and it has got some lumpy bumpies on it, but it still works, so I'm not going to worry about it. And I mean, that would be nice, just, you know, with the yellow and the blue, and then you get the green. But we are going to add some Blackberry Bliss. And I'm just going to put that there so that I don't get too much ink on my fingers. Now this is a very deep colour. As you can see, that has done straight away. I've got a nice coverage down the bottom. So I am now just blending them together, because I don't want it any deeper than that. I'm not picking up any more ink. I'm just using what's there. There we go. We end up with a bit of a rainbow. Who'd have thought? But I'm happy with that. Okay. Got those there. Let's give this a wipe off, because we don't want Blackberry Bliss ink everywhere. In fact, I will move this now out the way. And I can clean that after. I'll pop those to one side. There we go. I'll bring this back in. How gorgeous is that? I love it. Right, so then we're just going to give it, now it's had a little bit of time to dry, I'm just going to give it a little bit of a buff with a soft cloth, and any ink that's on top of that embossing will come off. There we go. Right, so now I'm on to sentiment, and I'm going to use the Sending Good Vibes. Do you know, it almost makes me feel of these, for want of a better word, hippie shops, where they have all the colours and the gold, and, you know, I can just smell like joss sticks and, you know, that kind of thing. I just, yeah. Right, so I'm going to do it on Blackberry Bliss cardstock, which I have here. Have I got a piece that would take? I'm going to put it into a circle. There we go. And I think it's the 1 3/4. Maybe not. No, that's not going to fit nice in there. I might use a die to die cut it, but we'll emboss this in gold. So bring in my stamping mat and grab my embossing buddy. Yeah. And a block. Does anyone have any plans for the weekend? I think I shall be sleeping after I've done with the retreat. I am going over to see my upline. I'll turn that over. My upline Louise on Saturday. We're going to have a catch up and have a craft, which will be nice. Haven't seen her for a while. She's been extremely busy. And then Sunday, I think I'm just going to have a chill out day. Because I've got team meeting Saturday as well. So that's 9:30 in the morning. So I'll be doing that, then crafting later. So I think Sunday will be a chill out day before we're back at Monday again. I just don't know where the weeks are going. Right, I've got to plug this back in. My gosh, why is... Plug this back in. My heat tool. So I've got a 4-gang plug. And of course I've got 2 lights going. So I've got lights in 2. I've got my laptop in the other and my phone in the other. So I haven't got any space. I'll just heat this. And again, I'm just toasting it. There we go. I mean, I could plug my phone in to my laptop and run it from there. I have got a double plug that my one lamp's into. And I could put my phone into that, but I don't want to overload it. So I have to take them in and out, I'm afraid. Carol, no real plans. It depends on whether there is a music festival down Constantine where hubby's from. Oh, lovely. Oh, that'd be nice, wouldn't it? Something a little different. Right, so I want a die to cut that out. And I'm kind of thinking a circle isn't going to cut it. It's just not enough. So I might pull in these. These are the Unbounded Love dies. I just think it needs something that little bit more than just a circle. Almost deserves that little bit more. So we've got an oblong, which has got a nice detail to it, and that fits well. This one cuts a frame out, so I don't want that, as does that. The oval, first time doing it. Oh, it'd be nice. Oh, there's the I don't. Do you know, I quite like the oval, the scalloped. It's not my normal choice. I would just go for that, but I'm kind of liking the oval on it. Yeah, we're going to go oval. And sometimes it's okay to bring in extra things that you've got. We've all got plenty of stuff in our stash, and we need to use them. Right, I do need a bit of washi tape. I have some on my computer. I'm just going to line this up because I don't want it to move. I'm just going to stick that on there. That's the washing machine beeping at me. So I'll run that through. I used to go to Watch It Music Festival with my sister. I've been a few times. And the last couple of years I went. She was part of Watch It Pride, and they had a stall there where we did that, just raising awareness and raising a bit of money. And it was lovely. It was a lovely little place. The festival, they had some quite big acts on. It was lovely. We didn't camp. We just went for the day. Right, so I like that. That looks nice on there. You've just put your washing out and says, oh no! Oh, that's typical, isn't it? I must say mine may not make it out because it has gone rather grey out there. Right, and I have this gold trim from the Floral Birthdays, is it? I can't remember the sweet's name. It's Birthday Celebrations. I think it's Floral Birthday Suite. I'm just thinking I might just stick just a little bit of that on. Why not? I'm just going to cut a bit of that. You know, why have a little bit of gold when you can have a big bit of gold? Right, so I'm just going to grab a little bit of double-sided tape. Make sure it's shorter than that. And I'm going to scrunch that up in the middle. And just stick that on there. So that that holds that. And then we'll stick it down on the back. There we go. And I use a lot of double-sided tape, just like sellotape. You know, have to use it. Oh, that one wasn't so good. I need to open that out a little bit more. It's not the easiest to slide. There we go. Sit that there. And it's just got that little bit on there. We'll add this on dimensionals. Oh my gosh, I nearly did it perfect to the one I stamped first. There we go. Pop that away. Right. And then we'll pop that on there. Like that. And a card base. Do I stick with the Blackberry Bliss or do I go for something a bit different? Let's try Pretty Peacock. See what that'll look like. got one created. I think we'll go for Pretty Peacock. Why not? You don't have to use the same card stock colours. We perhaps could have gone for the crushed curry, but I like the Pretty Peacock. One, because I like Pretty Peacock, but because we've got Blackberry Bliss and crushed curry at the ends, top and bottom, you may lose the edge a little bit. Whereas with the Pretty Peacock being in the middle, they stand out more. There we go. I'll just make sure that's down. And I'm not going to put any embellishments on that because I think that is enough in itself. So again, another really simple card that's really effective. I love that. The background, I think I might have to create some more of those. So there we go. That's 2 cards today. 2 very different. Thank you, Carol. I mean, you couldn't get much more different, could you? But it's just using the same sets when all as we've done is pulled in the dies and that twine mesh for that. So yeah, there we go. I'm happy with those. Let's switch you back. Right. Well, thank you very much for joining me. I'm now going to go and sort my washing, and I'm going to grab something to eat because I'm extremely hungry now. And I will be back on this evening at 7:30. And I shared a scrapbook page yesterday. I think it was yesterday, it might have been Tuesday, that I created with this suite that was inspired by Pamela Blackwell, if I remember correctly her name. I hope so. One that I'd seen her do with this suite, and I just changed it up a little bit. Seen it quite a bit ago, and I thought, I really like that. So I'm going to be creating a sister page for it, so we've got a double page spread. So, right, I shall pop off, and thanks again for joining, and I'll see you all later or next week. Bye.